So here is a recording of a day in the life of some silly things. So I was at a business and leaving, and a woman who had just come in who looks older than I am, but is probably 20 years younger, looks older than I think I do. And she said, "How come I don't see you at blank street?" And I thought, well, I'm not from this town, but I think I know probably what she's referring to. And I said, well, I don't live here. And she said, oh, well, you can come here and um, we'd enjoy having you at blank street. And still never saying exactly what it was. She said, we have so much fun. And I said, well, I just don't, the reason I don't go to a blank, a certain grocery store on Tuesdays and Thursdays is because it's Seniors Day. And um, I really don't like all of the old men that are cruising in the grocery store looking for a nurse or a purse. I'm not available. I'm not interested. Uh, Not my gig. And she still kept on. And then she started naming somebody she knew in Dallas that was from this area, and the name I recognized, and one of his relatives. She said he was 80. Is one of his, and it could possibly be who I'm thinking of. She said one of his relatives, and I said, yeah, she was a pharmacist. She went to prison, but she wasn't from here. She was from another nearby town. And he said, oh, she said, he was telling me about how he used to hang out in Alba, and they would ride to Sulphur Springs in a wagon. And at the same time she was telling me that, saying that, I said, yeah, and it would take all day for anyone who traveled in a wagon, realizing, that's not a whole lot older than I am right now. We had station wagons, but we did not take a day to drive 27 miles. Um, she just kept on after me, and I said, I'm just not interested. I said, if and she said, oh, we have bingo. And we've got a guy who teaches you how to plant seeds. And we've got a guy who teaches watercolor. I spray the paper and get it wet, and then paint on wet paper. And I'm trying to get out of there and walk out of the place, but I still had stuff to bring out to my truck. And oh my gosh. And I said, I'm really not interested. And the reason that I don't go to the certain grocery store on certain days, it's old men looking for a nurse or a person. I'm neither. They can just keep on cruising. And she was just persistent. And I said, you probably won't ever see me there. But we have bingo. Yay. We have parties all the time. And none of the men bother us. And, I was looking at her and thinking, yeah, good for you, I guess. So then I'm just wanting to go to other businesses and saying, how old do I look to you? Where would you direct me to if you thought I was new in town? I'm not from here. I had a business here. I closed my business the end of June. I come here to shop my little dairy list, grocery list, at Brahms, and I go by Lowe's. I'm too busy drilling holes in the wall at home and things because she was saying you just don't need to be sitting home alone. I don't sit home alone. I've got drills and cup hooks and screwdrivers and paint and paint brushes and furniture to paint and a business to run, two businesses to run. So this is just part, small part of a day in the life of. I'm going to go into get all of my variety of cheeses and sour cream now, and frozen yogurts to tide me over since I just stay home alone, except when all my friends come over. And if you're interested in bingo, I can certainly refer you somewhere. And you won't have to drive in a horse-drawn wagon that takes all day to get here. You know, jump in your Mercedes, your Harley, your Kia. We'll talk, or I will, as long as you're listening.